Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Facing Mortality. This episode, I'm not quite sure what to call it. I feel like calling it Facing Mortality. It's because today I want to talk about arranging your own funeral. I have gone through this process because I needed to. And the reason I needed to do this was because I wanted to choose how I would be sent off, basically. And that sounds really sad, but let me tell you how I experienced it. So I'm going to call this the good, the bad, and I guess, the reality, facing the reality. Whenever I have felt that this situation has got a bit too much for me, because usually it's around when the symptoms are increasing. When that happens, that puts me into a vulnerable state. And that vulnerability usually seems at the moment to be tied up with tears. I just don't seem to be able to hold the tears back at the moment. And last night my mother came over to give me a hug, and the reason being was because I was in tears, because I had another symptom which basically was telling me that things are getting worse, not better. My mother wanted you to actually see what happened last night, because I was beside myself in tears, and she wanted you, for those who have not gone through this, to get an understanding of what it's like to see someone who's going through it, and to see the challenging aspect of it with the caregiver. Facing your mortality is really hard. We all know we're going to die, but it's in that later pile. I'll get around to it later. But the truth is we are, and as I said, I've had insider information, I've had insider trading, so I know that my time for a miracle to save me from this disease is running out. But then Anita Morjani, she was on her deathbed in the hospital with organs about to close down when she had her miracle. So never say never. So going back to last night, before I get onto the topic of the funeral, it had me challenging my decision around no radiation. It had me challenging my coping mechanisms. For a caregiver watching someone going through this, they're really quite helpless in a way. They can't take your pain away. They can't take the disease away. All they can do is be there for when you need them. But I must admit, having someone there for when you do need them is really cool. I think I would have had quite a few people crying if they had seen me last night. I'm not feeling too bad today. I have had a few tears with another friend already. I just can't seem to turn them off at the moment. And I think it is because I'm just tired. So on that note, without further ado, I am going to talk about my funeral. It was a big decision to make that phone call, but I did because I don't want to leave it for other people to worry about. I think those who are close to me will have enough on their plates at the time of grieving to have to worry about me and putting this body to rest and wondering if they've got it right. So I spoke with the priest. I was baptised earlier this year by a liberal Catholic priest. I think he is. I hope he doesn't watch this episode, just in case I've got it wrong. But he mentioned a place not too far away from me, which would be a halfway point between the city dwellers and where I live, I guess. And I rang them and the woman came round and I sat there very strong as we went through the process, choosing a coffin, who's going to say what, the photos that I'd like displayed, the music to go with those photos, the music to go with those the music for those people when they arrive and are seated and waiting for the service to start, and the music for later when people are having their afternoon tea. And then, of course, afternoon tea and flowers, etc., etc. So I sat there composed, going through this on my own because that was my choice. I didn't want anyone influencing my farewell to this body, because that's what it is. A funeral is a celebration of life, and it's saying goodbye to the body that we all know. It's saying goodbye to everyone that this body has met. And as I've said before, I believe I'm going off. My soul will move on to evolve further, and this body will turn to dust because this body is no longer able to support my soul. So my soul needs to leave it and move on until whatever happens after then. You know, do I know what happens? I would like to think I know what happens and that I have a fair idea of what happens. But this body has not been there yet, so I can't say. I can only assume. But that gets me through, actually. That gets me through knowing I'm going to see everyone again, and I'm going to see those who I've already said goodbye to previously. I will see them over in spirit land or soul land, whatever it is, whatever plane that is. And the people who are here, who I leave behind, will continue on with their lives. And I will become a memory. But it will be my body that becomes a memory because I still exist. So anyway, after she left, I didn't get onto it straight away. I couldn't, because I was facing my mortality. And I've never had to prepare a funeral before for a human being. So I think I decided to work on think the photos first. Boy, did that bring tears up, because I was living in the past. The photos had taken me to the past, which is obviously what a photo does. It's a memory. It's all it is. It's something that can't be changed, can't be altered. It's, and as time goes by, that memory gets less and less, I guess. But I was going through the photos and I thought, this is going to take me forever if I can't stop crying. And then something inside me clicked. I thought to myself that I actually had control over this. And so I took it and I decided to use that reflection of the photos. I had to choose 50 and then one for the cover of the service that people could relate me with. And yeah, those memories became sweet. They became, oh my gosh, I remember that. Oh my, wow, look at me back then. Oh, I am a bit of a chameleon, I think, in my changes over my years. Usually around my hair, long, short, black, blonde, copper, brown. Yeah, so I turned it around and I looked at those photos as just sweet memories, going through those. And then I started, obviously ones that I wouldn't use in my service, but I started sharing some as well, saying, oh, look at this. And yep, and then it came time to the music, to organise the music. And once again, I thought, I know what, I'll go to my favourite bands. And I'm not saying that these are my favourite bands now, but I decided to listen to, I thought, I've always wanted to put on Pink Floyd. Now, hopefully you'll find this really funny, because my favourite song of Pink Floyd was Wish You Were Here. Now, you can't really play at a funeral. I'm in a coffin, or the body's in a coffin, and I'm up somewhere else watching, maybe, hopefully, I don't know. But I'm, somewhere else, and I'm going, how I wish you were here. So that became funny, because it was like, oh my gosh, all the songs that I've loved over the course of my life aren't actually appropriate for my farewell. And so I changed it, and I ended up listening to more songs that I felt were appropriate, because I also had to have one for when the coffin leaves, the service and goes into the car to be taken away. And yeah, so I thought, I don't want everyone crying. I want everyone to celebrate my farewell, celebrate my life at my farewell. I don't want people mourning and crying about the loss of a life, because it's just the loss of a body. That's all it is, in my humble opinion. And you have yours and I have mine. And that's okay. So I sorted out the music and got all that done. And then I also had to speak with the priest and work out what he was going to say at my funeral. And I also sat with the MC. I had this woman who did another friend of mine's funeral, and I just loved what she did, that I asked if she could be my MC. And I know she's going to do a really great job. I know it's in perfect hands. So I had to have a chat with her MC and work out what she was going to say and what I wanted said about me as well. And you know what? I was going to keep what I was going to say about me, as a bit of a surprise at my funeral. But I actually think I might say it here, because I think this is something everyone should hear. I asked the MC, I wrote down a little spiel about me, and I said, I too, I don't remember the exact words, so this is just a paraphrase of what's she's going to say on my behalf. But you know how you get a family member gets up and speaks and says a bit about your life, so those at the service can sort of understand a bit of your background, about who you were, because you know, some people have only known you for a time and point of your life. So my older brother has said that he will get up and speak on behalf of the family about me. Hopefully he says only nice things. And I've also asked the MC for me to say something too. And basically I have thanked my body. I have said I would like to thank me, my name, my full name, for the life that it gave me whilst I was here. That it helped me to do the fun things in life that I wanted, you know, physically, that it helped me mentally, you know, getting my degree, you know, that it really did a service to me, and I should have looked after it better. But it really did a service to me, and I would like to thank my body as well and say goodbye to me. Unfortunately, I cannot say that I came up with that idea on my own. I'd like to, but I actually got it off a Korean drama, the ones I mentioned that I watch for inspiration and happiness and stuff. I think I'm really good at finding the good ones, not what I would call the ghouly, laughy ones, which sort of drive me a bit nuts. But the ones that have got some real pearls of wisdom, as well as some good laughs in them. And yeah, it was this woman who was a ghost, and she was on the physical plane for 30 days. And before she went back to actually crossing over completely and no longer being a ghost, the shaman said to her, have you been and seen everyone? And the woman said, yes, I have. I've said goodbye to everybody. And the shaman said, what about you? Have you said goodbye to yourself? Have you said goodbye to your name and thanked you for the life that this body gave you under this name, you know? That's why there'll never be another one of me. There'll never be another exact body with this exact name. This is it. So at my funeral, the MC is saying goodbye to me too. It looks really cool, the funeral, actually. I'm thinking I'd like to be there myself watching it. I don't know if that's possible. But if it is, without any detriment to my moving on with my soul, then I would happily be there watching everyone and watching the funeral and listening to the music and looking at the photos. Obviously not being able to eat anything afterwards at the supper or the afternoon tea. But yeah, you know, we all have to arrange our funeral one day or another, or leave it to somebody else. And I think if you can arrange it yourself, it just makes it so much easier for those who are left behind. And you also get what you want, hopefully, you know, depending on what money you have, you know, you have a say. For example, I've chosen to be in a cardboard coffin, and it's got a beautiful rose or flower arrangement drawn on it. It's really lovely. So I like the fact that I've had a choice, an opportunity to say what I want when this body is no longer fit for purpose. When this body is no longer a work in progress. So on that note, our funerals don't have to be a bad thing. We can look at them as an opportunity to reminisce We can look at it as an opportunity to remind ourselves of the impact people have had on our lives and what we've done and with our lives as well. You know, at the end of the day, what have we achieved really what we wanted to? You know, what really mattered? You know, we had probably ideas when we were young, but as we age, those change. And yeah, are we happy with who we changed into? Are we happy with how we evolved whilst we've had this body? We'll always get things wrong. We can't beat ourselves up. We are human. And that was one of the blessings of this disease, is that it gave me time to try and fix some things that I've stuffed up. I won't fix everything. The list is way too long. If I was going to die based on the list, I probably would be immortal. But I'm trying to be a better person every day. So I thank you for your time and listening to this. I hope you'll see it for what it is, and that is an opportunity, not a curse. And I shall see you next time. Thank you. Oh, and if you want to be notified of more videos, remember to hit that notification bell on the subscribe button. Thank you.